Neil, you gave very powerful analysis where we are now, and still we need time, to privatize this, to be on the same page of understanding. But this is very powerful analysis. Okay, I think it's not theory. It's very relevant for Ukraine, as you already said, and it's absolutely extremely relevant to Ukraine today, this year and next year, to this political cycle. As a doctor who better than everybody else understand our sickness, and not only our sickness of civilization, where we are now. Probably you're a unique person who may be able to give some very pragmatic, very precise advice, suggestion, how to cure, or even better, how to prevent. Because definitely already now we are in this cycle, in this wave of disinformation campaign, of fake news, which already very well orchestrated, very well targeted, and extremely dangerous for us. I think now Ukraine already in the area of existential threat. Yeah, and my question really, with your tool, with your understanding of where we are now, if you are able to give some 1-2 pragmatic advices, it will be extremely valuable for us here, for Ukrainians.
Well, Victor, I agree with you entirely that this will be a profound threat to the stability of Ukrainian democracy as we approach next year's elections, because the incentives for external actors are very obvious indeed. You therefore need, I think, to do two things. The first is that all politicians committed to an open, democratic, rule of law-based society must inform themselves about these technologies and political techniques. That probably means paying a call on Mark Zuckerberg's folks out in Silicon Valley and making sure that they understand that they will be watched by you, because you cannot allow the tools of Facebook advertising, now the most powerful tools in democracy and indeed in commercial advertising, to be used by forces hostile to freedom. The technology companies need to be on notice that you are watching and you will be vigilant. The second thing to remember is that fake news is bad, but half-true news is the worst. If you've ever been the victim of a media smear, and I have, you will learn, or will have learned, that the worst thing is the half-true story. The 50% true story that has just enough truth in it for the half that is untrue to be believable. And you will find, if you haven't already found, that even your friends believe the half-true story. It's stunning. So all politicians in the coming election who are seen as hostile to Russia will be the targets of half-true stories. They will be, very likely, the victims of leaked private conversations, whether taped or hacked from email. And you must be ready to explain very fast indeed the difference between the true and the false, and it isn't easy. Because there's nothing harder in the world than to say, yeah, that part is true, because the minute you say that, they've got you, before you even get to, but that part is false. But I see no other way. We know from the pretty successful defense in France and Germany last year that you can defeat attacks, but speed is of the essence, and it's very important that when your friend is attacked, as may well happen, you are ready publicly to defend. You know, when I mentioned earlier that cowardice is a powerful force in history, you'll never be more alone than when it's you being smeared. You'll never be more stunned by the weakness of your network than when you are the one on the front page in the shit. Because suddenly, your friends aren't there. Or they'll content themselves with a private email saying, "Bad luck, old chap." But the number of people who will step up in public and say, "This just isn't true," will be depressingly small. That's why the kind of network I talked about, Victor, the true network of trust, of meaningful friendship, is so crucial. Because when the attacks begin, that network has to kick into action. It makes a huge difference if on day one of a scandal, 20 respected people say, "This is bullshit." If that doesn't happen, the Twitter mob has got you, and there's no pushback. So I think there's a good deal of organization that can be done preemptively. Number one, learn the way the tools work. Number two, prepare a defense of trusted networks.
Yes, and very important to know who is your real friend.
Sometimes that's when you find out.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. I think it's very, very, very valuable advice. Thank you, Doctor.